Glenn Greenwald is, of course, the award-winning journalist most known for breaking the Snowden story about mass surveillance from the NSA. Similarly to Chris Hedges, Glenn Greenwald's arguments against Noam Chomsky's position fail miserably because he doesn't articulate Chomsky's position correctly.
Obviously, in their view, no matter what Biden is, he's incrementally preferable to Donald Trump, and the person who has made this argument for many years is Noam Chomsky, which is that when you have even an incrementally preferable person with that much power as the president wields, it benefits hundreds of millions of people in ways that you're not morally permitted to ignore. And I think that one of the most important components missing from that formula is the fact that when you rally behind an establishment candidate, a neoliberal, a corporatist, a militarist like Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, on the grounds that you're incrementally improving the situation, really what you're doing, first of all, I question whether or not it is an incremental improvement. But even if you accept that premise, there are also consequences to constantly rallying behind and empowering and strengthening the neoliberal corporatist wing of the Democratic Party. Now neoliberalism and the perpetuation of a globalist neoliberal order, as obviously Obama and Clinton and now Biden are devoted to doing, is not just marginally different than left-wing populism. In many ways, it's the antithesis of it, such that strengthening it and rallying behind it and fortifying it isn't just not getting what you want, it's empowering things that you actively oppose. And I think people need to think long and hard about whether they want to do that.
Yes, the difference between progressives and the Democrats is night and day, but the difference between Trump and Biden is human survival. We all know that Democrats are terrible. Chomsky does not say that we should vote for the lesser evil and allow it to get stronger. In fact, he says the opposite. Voting for the lesser evil is a strategic decision which may help popular movements in their job of raising consciousness.
Do you personally see any value in activists, in progressives, focusing on national two-party politics and politicians?
I think they should spend 5 or 10 minutes on it, seeing if there's a point in taking part in the carefully orchestrated electoral extravaganza. And my own judgment, for what it's worth, is yes, there's a point. Between the two choices that are presented, there's, I think, some significant differences.
The leftist strategy of voting is not simply to vote for Democrats. To use Chomsky as an example, he most likely voted for Sanders in the 2016 primaries, but when Hillary Clinton won the Democratic nomination, he voted for the Green Party's Jill Stein for president. In 2020, he again supported Sanders, but when Sanders lost the nomination, he decided to vote for Biden. It's not that he supports Jill Stein or Joe Biden. The reason he voted for them was because they were simply the best option to ensure better opportunities for mass movements. The politicians are not the important thing. The way they treat popular movements is what matters. Like Jimmy Dore, Greenwald has a history of placing his hopes on politicians.
And I believe the whole bullshit about how Democrats are basically good people. They just needed. And like the more I watched the Democratic Party, the more I realized like what bullshit that was, right? But then I still thought, well, the way to change that is by supporting insurgents.
But Greenwald is now disappointed with those insurgents like AOC.
And then I interviewed her. It was like, you can see on YouTube, it was like 250,000 people watched, however many. Like I asked her about identity politics, and she said, this is a Trojan horse. They get like Black and Latino candidates who pretend to be liberal, but they're really, just there to give the appearance of diversity, but it's not real diversity. She said, I asked her if she won, if she would support Pelosi and Hoyer for leadership. And she said, absolutely not. They've been there too long. We need new leadership. I won't vote for them. She fucking wins. What does she do? She gets to Congress. The first thing she does is she votes for Pelosi and Hoyer, of course. And then she fires like her staff that's like too critical of the Democratic Party. And she basically turns into a good soldier for she now calls Pelosi Mama Bear. And most of what she does is like identity politics. I conclude, and AOC was like kind of my last hope.
Yeah, me too.
Chomsky has always said government does not create change. Only grassroots movements can create change. Even if Bernie Sanders had won, a huge movement would have been needed in order for him to have enough momentum to push through his policies.
And I love you too. But here's the point, and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this is not about Bernie Sanders. Let me tell you something. I work in Washington. That's my day job. And this is what I want to tell you. You can have the best president in the history of the world, somebody courageous, smart, bold. That person will not be able to address the major crises that we face unless there is a mass political movement, unless there's a political revolution in this country.
Even Hillary Clinton said this to BLM organizers.
I think that there has to be a reckoning. I agree with that.
America's first drug is free black labor and turning black bodies into profit. And the mass incarceration system mirrors an awful lot like the prison plantation system. It's the same. It's a similar thread.
Your analysis is totally fair. It's historically fair, it's psychologically fair, it's economically fair. But you're going to have to come together as a movement and say, here's what we want done about it.
But like what I'm saying is what you just said was a form of victim blaming, right? You were saying that what the Black Lives Matter movement needs to do to change white hearts is
No, I'm not talking about, look, I don't believe you change hearts. I believe you change laws, you change allocation of resources, you change the way systems operate. You're not going to change every heart. You're not.
And she was right. She doesn't care enough about the injustices of our system to do anything herself, but she's not telling organizers to back down and let her handle everything because she's just so great.
But I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room. And I say very modestly that I have done more for the African American community than any president since Abraham Lincoln, our first Republican president. We have to give law enforcement, our police, back their power. They are afraid to act. They are afraid to lose their pension. They are afraid to lose their jobs. And by being afraid, they are not able to do the job that they so desperately want to do for you.
We all know the Democrats have a terrible record on policing and incarceration, but leftist movements have pressured Biden to create progressive prison reforms. Whether he follows through depends on the continuing pressure. Trump and most Republicans, however, are much harder to pressure. Fox News host Chris Wallace and Trump condemned Biden for not supporting the call for the National Guard to end protests.
You had never called for the leaders in Portland and in Oregon to bring in the National Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way. Look here.
Oh, really?
Here.
Oh, really? Then the National Guard, it would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
The point is that that's what he is, keeps trying to rile everything up. He doesn't want to calm things down. Instead of going in and talking to people and saying, let's get everybody together, figure out how to deal with this. What's he do? He just pours gasoline in the fire constantly, and every single solitary time.
Whatever their record is, Democrats are more tolerant of organizers. Trump actually thinks Antifa is more dangerous than white supremacists and neo-fascist militias.
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
white
name.
Supremacists and
who would you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got to be
not
kidding.
militia. That's what his FBI. His FBI director said.
Again, Biden doesn't care enough to encourage Antifa or Black Lives Matter, but he's more tolerant toward the freedom to assemble. Chomsky's position, which he repeats over and over again in probably every interview he's ever done, is that we need the most tolerant administration possible to allow mass movements to develop. And yet, leftists, even friends of his, don't quite understand him.
So I think the example of Chomsky is a little bit slightly a distraction. I'm as big of a fan of Noam Chomsky as it gets. He's a good friend of mine. I have nothing but the highest admiration for him. But he's this idea that it's the moral responsibility of every citizen to vote for the lesser of two evils, which means in every case the Democratic Party, no matter who they nominate, is not a new view of his. It's been one that he's been advocating and articulating for years, going back at least to the 1980s, when I think it was more defensible.
Chomsky does not say every citizen has this responsibility. Chomsky focuses on swing states when he brings up the subject of voting for the lesser evil as a moral choice. But if we limit Greenwald's argument to Trump, then he does have somewhat of a case. The year 2020 was maybe the first time Chomsky actually said that he would prefer everyone voted for Biden in order to make it more difficult for Trump to try to steal the election.
Ordinarily, my own view has been in the past that, assuming that it's worth voting at all, which sometimes it isn't, then in a swing state, in a non-swing state, do what you like. So like I lived in Massachusetts most of my life. I usually voted, if I voted, it was usually for Green or something like that. But this election is different. We actually have a creature, first time in the history of parliamentary democracy, goes back hundreds of years, first time that there's been someone who says, if I don't like the outcome, I'll stay in office and I'll surround myself with paramilitaries and or militias who'll keep us in. And the Republican Party is organizing openly, publicly, batteries of lawyers trying to figure out some ways to find gaps in the Constitution so that they can undermine the election if they don't like it. Right. So under those circumstances, the greater the popular vote against Trump, the less likely it is that they can carry off these shenanigans. So if you're interested in getting rid of Trump this time, not before, I think it's important to vote against him, even in a non-swing state.
Chomsky was right that Trump would not want to concede, and he thought that a big popular vote for Biden would prevent any tactic to overturn the results.
There's nothing he would not do to try to maintain office. Virtually nothing you can think of. This is a major crisis.
Chomsky's preference for an overwhelming popular vote against Trump makes sense given what actually ended up happening.
So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list. Okay? It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment. And we will win this. And as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
Maybe Chomsky was wrong, maybe he was right, but he definitely did not say it was every citizen's responsibility to vote for Biden, and his message was specific to the Trump phenomena. It wasn't part of his general view of LEV, which only applies in swing states. There is no grand strategy that we should repeat every single election. To some, Chomsky's voting record might seem confusing. First Sanders, then the Green Party, then Sanders again, then Biden. The only principle for Chomsky is the support of grassroots movements. His votes were determined by the state where he lived and the circumstances in the White House. Greenwald sets up a simple straw man argument. He claims Chomsky has been supporting all Democrats unconditionally for many years.
It's been one that he's been advocating and articulating for years.
One big problem with Chomsky's supposed unconditional support for Democrats is that the left loses all of its leverage over the party.
And I think what people are starting to realize is two things. Number one, when you pledge your unconditional support to politicians, meaning when you say, like Chomsky does, no matter who you pick, no matter how adverse he is to my political ideology and my set of policy preferences, I'm going to vote for you. I'm going to support you. They start to realize that you have no leverage. There's no reason for them to do anything but ignore you with contempt, because you're basically in this subservient position you put yourself in where you say, I don't care how much you trample on my values, I'm still going to vote for you. Why would anybody listen to a group of people who say that? And who say, oh, we want concessions. Why would I give you concessions if you've already told me that at the end of the day you're going to vote for me anyway? I'm not going to give you concessions. I'll give concessions to the people who may not vote for me.
First of all, we should assume that politicians will always look at the public with contempt no matter what we do, no exceptions. We will not gain their respect by voting or not voting for them. And second, giving concessions has nothing to do with elections. Politicians can give concessions at any time, whether running for office or already in office. Every improvement that we've had in the US came because a large group of people pressured the government to stop treating its citizens like garbage. They didn't have to wait for there to be an election to start demanding concessions. The point that Chomsky makes is that we are more likely to pressure Biden compared to Trump, and that historically, positive change is created by mass movements who demand changes from a government that will at least pretend to listen.
And I'm sure you know Eric Loomis, who's studied the efforts by working people to institute changes in the society. Sometimes for themselves, sometimes for society generally. And he's pointed out, made an interesting point. These efforts succeeded when there was a tolerant or sympathetic administration, not when there wasn't.
And the other problem with it is, where does that end? What's the exit strategy for that? If you continue to empower and support and fortify this neoliberal, corporatist, militarist wing of a party over and over and over again. Now we're supporting Al Gore. Now we're supporting John Kerry. Barack Obama, who ran on a different platform than his presidency became. Now we're supporting Hillary Clinton. Now we're supporting Joe Biden. What is the point of politics if that's what you're doing?
Greenwald seems to think that the point of politics is electing great leaders who reflect our values. That may one day be possible, but our system was designed to ensure that that doesn't happen. The point of politics for Chomsky is maybe 1% elections and 99% grassroots movements.
But let's remember, what matters in politics is constant activism.
That's the exit strategy. You take one day off every 4 years. If you're in a swing state, you vote for the candidate who might be pressured, and for the next 4 years, you join or donate to activist organizations. You're not supporting Al Gore, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden. You're not even supporting Bernie Sanders. You're supporting the working class who can make its voice heard more effectively when there's a government who might feel their pressure.
And I think that a lot of people are now reaching the point where they supported Bernie Sanders because he promised a political revolution against the Democratic and Republican establishments. So to now tell those same people, it's time for you to get behind the very establishment who you thought you were launching a revolution against, is a message that is not landing well for millions of people who probably won't vote for Trump, but may just stay at home or vote for a third party.
Sanders made no such promise of revolution. What he said was that even if he were elected, people would still have to organize in mass numbers to demand change. No one is suggesting that progressives should now get behind the establishment. The people in the streets don't need Sanders in order to launch a political revolution. Popular movements have stopped slavery, they stopped child labor, they created programs like the New Deal, and there's still more to be done, but it wasn't absolutely necessary for them to have a president who supported them on the issues as Bernie Sanders does. All they needed was an administration that would at least listen to them, something Trump cannot do.
It's worth bearing in mind that with the Biden presidency, the activism of a popular movement will make a big difference. Trump's probably immune.
The real change will come when people either become active or financially support activist organizations for the cost of a Netflix subscription. And these movements will be more effective in confronting institutional problems when Biden is president. If you think Chomsky's position is easy to understand, you might be wondering why is it that highly intelligent people, including his friends, ignore him on this issue. One reason, exemplified by Chris Hedges, is that they have grown to hate the real hypocrisy of the Democrats. Greenwald says that even though Republicans are terrible, the Democrats are uniquely repulsive.
It's the reason why liberals are so repulsive. They don't have any fixed beliefs. They weaponize everything cynically. And they're so transparent about it. And then at the same time, so sanctimonious about who they are. Right? Like, I remember like Lee Atwater, who, of course, was like a scumbag political operative, kind of like reveled in the fact that that's what he was, right? Like Roger Stone is sort of the same way. Like, they're totally amoral scumbags, but they kind of admit it. They don't really pretend otherwise. Liberals are exactly the same. They have zero principles. They weaponize everything against their enemies and then ignore and give license to whoever's on their side. But then at the same time are so self-righteous about who they are. And that's what makes them uniquely repulsive.
This hatred toward liberal elites may make it impossible for progressives to willingly give their votes to Democrats, even if it might be beneficial. They don't want to contribute to giving Democrats any kind of satisfaction. Not voting for Democrats and being vocal about it is a way of expressing their discontent, and perhaps a way to punish elite Democrats for betraying the working class. But as Chomsky wrote in 2016, voting should not be viewed as a form of personal self-expression or moral judgment directed in retaliation towards major party candidates who fail to reflect our values, or in retaliation of a corrupt system designed to limit choices to those acceptable to corporate elites. Some leftists, like Slavoj Žižek, even suggested that Trump could be good for America because he could shake up the system. And leftists online, probably in the comments below, have said that Trump could destroy the Republican Party and usher in a new progressive wave.
Terrible point. That was the same point that people like him said about Hitler in the early 30s.
Because it backfires in the end.
He'll shake up the system in bad ways. If Clinton had won, she had some progressive programs. The left could have been organized to keeping her feet to the fire and pushing them through. What it'll be doing now is trying to protect rights that have, and gains that have been achieved from being destroyed. That's completely regressive.
Greenwald doesn't see voting as a small part of a bigger strategy for activism to create change. He sees voting, or withholding the vote, as an act of individual defiance, a big middle finger to the Democrats. Chomsky challenges the assumption that voting should be seen as a form of individual self-expression, rather than as an act to be judged on its likely consequences. He believes the consequences of our actions for others are a far more important consideration than feeling good about ourselves. If there is really no difference between the bigger evil and the lesser evil, then why not just vote for the lesser evil in swing states in order to prevent more people from suffering? Are they an insignificant difference? Does anyone seriously believe that Hillary Clinton would have disbanded Obama's pandemic response unit, as Trump did? What about the tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, who didn't have to die from COVID-19? Are they just an insignificant difference? One thing we should all agree on is that climate change and nuclear proliferation are not small, insignificant differences.
4 more years of Trump's climate policies and nuclear policies might simply doom the human species, literally. We don't have a lot of time to deal with the environmental crisis. It's very serious. Every prediction that's been made by scientists has been too conservative. Each time it comes out worse. I won't run through the details, but it's a major catastrophe. We have some time to deal with it. 4 more years of Trump might well take us to irreversible tipping points. At the very least, it will make it much harder to confront this growing crisis